Ivana and I work at ELC as a receptionist. That's where I met Henry. And I'm originally from Slovakia, but I have lived in Sydney for the last 10 years. And I will recommend some things to do in Sydney and places to go. So Sydney has a great selection of beaches, whether it's a really quiet bay or very famous surfing beaches, Bondi, Manly, Coogee or Clovelly, just to name a few. And you cannot leave Sydney without seeing the most iconic symbol, which is of course Sydney Opera House, and a very famous Harbour Bridge, and botanical gardens of Sydney where you can have a lovely picnic, and that's where you will see one of the most beautiful views of the city. And don't forget to visit the Rocks as well. The Rocks is famous for its heritage buildings, lovely cafes, restaurants, places to have a drink, and markets.
Ooh, that's very good. So, could you say to us when we can come here, the best time to come in Sydney, in Australia?
Any time of the year, Sydney has so much to offer. During winter, you can do a beautiful whale watching cruise where you can see whales breaching and jumping out of the water. That's a perfect season for that. In summer, of course, beaches, but you can also do lovely walks in the Royal National Park, where you can do hiking and also see breathtaking views of the ocean and cliffs. So I don't think there is a specific time of the year that I would recommend. I think every season has something to offer.
Okay, I made a video about food court, and do you know your recommendation?
Where to eat in Sydney? I would suggest when you're in the city, there's a lovely place called Spice Alley in Chippendale. It's basically a mix of a few different Asian cuisines under one roof. So it kind of resembles hawker stalls that you usually see overseas. Beautiful. And then I would probably recommend to check out Newtown, a really cool suburb with a lot of restaurants, cafes and pubs. And Surry Hills and Darlinghurst. If you're looking for nice Chinese food, Chinatown in Sydney, Vietnamese food, Kabra Mata, really lovely.
What to do here in Sydney?
So in addition to sightseeing and walks in the Royal National Parks, I would suggest that you take a ferry to Taronga Zoo, which is a harbourside beautiful zoo, or take a ferry to Cockatoo Island as well. For probably more adventurous people, I would suggest booking a tour where you can kayak in the harbour, or you can climb Harbour Bridge, do a skywalk in the Sydney Eye Tower as well. And if you like walking but you don't want to make your way to the Royal National Park, Bondi to Coogee walk or Spit to Manly is an absolutely beautiful walk where you can just stroll along and enjoy the breathtaking views of the ocean.
And for you, which beaches is the best?
Oh, that's really hard. That's very hard to say. I do, obviously Bondi with amazing views is one of a kind, but I also like Clovelly, which is...
Which one?
Clovelly.
Okay.
And Cronulla.
Okay,
Cronulla
thank you very much. So I want to recommend to see kangaroo and koala.
I would recommend Featherdale. You should check it out.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Simo. I'm originally from Italy, but I moved here in Sydney last September, so it's been already 6 months. I love the city, I love the country, it's amazing, there are so many places to visit. I'd say my favorite places in Sydney are, first of all, I love surfing, so anywhere where you can surf is good. So I'd say anywhere from Bondi, Bronte, but my favorite spot, which is not on the beach, is the Centennial Park. I love it, it's so great and it's amazing, very relaxing as well. Outside Sydney, my favorite spot is probably close to Sydney, Jervis Bay. Jervis Bay is such a beautiful place, so nature around it, white beaches, and it's so good to be there. Well, about food, definitely I would recommend Surry Hills for its cafes. You can find plenty of options, very nice cafes all around Surry Hills, so that's definitely my spot. For a good pizza, since I'm Italian, I would definitely go to Vacanza Pizzeria, which is again in Surry Hills, but it's so tasty, and every time I go there I'm always super happy to get a pizza there. And finally, if you want to look for something more Asian style, so if you're looking for noodles or a good bowl of ramen, I would surely recommend Chinatown, which is an amazing place. You can find plenty of options, and surely you can find a very good ramen over there. So, I would strongly recommend you to come to Sydney around September, I think. I came in September, which was literally the end of winter and the beginning of spring. So you have beautiful days, the temperature is getting warmer. So Sydney, I'd say from September until like probably March, when summer ends, is probably the best time. If you're planning to go to see other places like Central Australia or places like Uluru, maybe winter time is probably better because it's not as hot as in summer. Or other places like Queensland or all the East Coast going up, those are probably recommended in summer or late spring, autumn, because the weather is still good and it's not too cold.